Welcome, everyone. Welcome from across this gorgeous planet. We are one communion, many paths, one mountain, where our mission is what Barbara Marx Hubbard and Dr. Marc Gafni call the planetary awakening in love through unique self-symphony. Together, we declare that the last day of the old face of evolution is honored as the first day of the new face of creation. I am Christina Tehel, the co-executive producer, along with Krista Josefa and Kirsten Zohar, and I am delighted to be here with you today. I welcome all the new people. Please do share you are new in the chat box. We want to hear from you. When you do chat to everyone by checking that your chat settings say all panelists and attendees and not just all panelists. For those on social media, also chat in the chat boxes. Use the chat function to say hi, to let us know where you're from, and to resonate the Dharma. In one communion, many paths, one mountain. We are connected, we are whole, and we're expressions of the entire process of creation. We are activating a new humanity, and we are awakening as a new species. Homo Amor, the fulfillment of Homo sapien. We are a church, a synagogue, a zendo, a temple. We're all of it. No one is excluded, everyone is included, and we come together to attune to the evolutionary impulse awakening within us. Welcome home, everyone. We are overjoyed to be with you today in week 208. Let everyone know about One Communion, Many Paths, One Mountain. We are doing this primarily through word of mouth and leadership around church. This community is a sacred, sacred opportunity. On YouTube, we are One Church, Many Paths, One Mountain. On Facebook, we are facebook.com/onechurch.world. Right now, we are streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you could take a moment, copy either of the links from the Zoom chat box and share those live links on your favorite social media channels like Facebook or Twitter. After our communion, we will invite you to send an email to invite your friends and family. Forward that email right after the gathering. Spend time on our website, www.onechurch.world. On the top menu of the home page or the bottom of each page, you will find our membership links. Awesome news. A return to Eros, the radical experience of being fully alive by Dr. Gafni and Dr. Kincaid is now on an audiobook, and it's read so brilliantly by a board member and movie star, actually, Gabrielle Anwar. I can't recommend this radically inspiring, important book enough. A return to Eros helps all of us recognize more deeply how love's energy literally drives reality. With that, I give you a little bit of what to expect during today's communion. We begin with a One Communion recap. Then Dr. Mark sets our intention. David resonates the evolutionary love code we are working with. We move into prayer, then evolutionary sermons with Dr. Mark, and often with a piece from Barbara Marx Hubbard. Then Krista invites us to commit our outrageous acts of love and to contribute our gifts to this revolution. And then we bring everyone on when we close for our goodbyes. Mark wrote what he called evolutionary love codes. Mark and Barbara studied the codes together, often comparing them with Barbara's own 52 codes for conscious self-evolution. These codes grew out of their radical commitment over 100 collective years, crystallizing the new story of humanity. Quote, evolving the course of consciousness and culture, which is the source code of love, unquote. Each communion is a standalone, and every week's communion builds on the week before. One Communion, Many Paths, One Mountain is radically committed to telling the new story. Here goes my one communion recap from last week. Our highest purpose is no purpose. Activate the power of purpose through the pleasure of no purpose. Purpose, career options, social mobility, and transformation explode on the human level. But purpose destroys us if we don't have no purpose. Most animals have, through their instinct, unmediated access to the larger purpose of cosmos moving through them. The primary focus of the animal, from what we can understand, is instinctual or innate purpose, which shows up as no purpose. It is a quality of depth living that the wisdom masters call lishma, for its own sake. To become Homo Amor, we must include and transcend the animal and not reject the animal. When we reject the animal in its shadow form seeks to hijack our lives. When human beings include that quality of consciousness, no purpose in their own human choice making, they have embraced the animal. The quality of no purpose is now. It's valuable now. The practice of no purpose is nowing as a verb. It's not knowing, it's nowing. It's eros. It's not in order to get anywhere. We're alive. Livingness is so innately delightful and so innately valuable that it requires no other justification. We're not alive because we are alive. We place this no purpose in the center, the pure joy of touching each other emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, existentially, psychologically, physically, self-validating. When we touch each other, we seek to touch each other just because. Touch is not a human desire. Touch is continuous throughout cosmos. There's proto-desire in particles to touch each other and not to touch each other indiscriminately. Particles are not promiscuous. Particles are particular. When Alfred North Whitehead talks about the prehension that lives in the subatomic level, he's referring to that touch, to proto-touch. It's from that inner self-knowing that everything becomes alive. It's this phenomenon of the human being awakening to higher instinct, to no purpose, to the self-validating experience of outrageous love that leads the entire cosmos to awareness of itself. And it's from this inner self-knowing that the abundant stream of life is channeled through the merging of mind, purpose, and will, no purpose. When purpose and no purpose merge and hold each other and dance together, then reality becomes alive, uninterrupted by boundaries or particulars. The objective of the wisdom of the mysteries at every point along the journey is liberating the power of the soul to the point where it can stand on its own inner strength and drink directly from its source. With that, I invite us to more deeply enter into the holy and sacred space of one communion, many paths, one mountain. And I turn my word to you, beloved Dr. Marc Gafni.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my God, right? Oh my God, that was beautiful. What a gorgeous Dharma recap. And can we just thank Christina Tahel? Like, thank you, thank you, thank you, right? Just for that energy and for just the 4 times you went over last week's One Love, One Communion, and you brought it together and created this beautiful recapitulation, which is a movement in symphony, right? Recapitulation is not just repeating, even though all the words are the same and the phrases are the same and the Dharma is the same, but as it goes through and is mediated through the music, which is Christina Tahel, right? Then it becomes something new and something, wow, right? Can you feel that? Yay. And my whole face kind of lightens up because, oh my God, right? I got to hear the Dharma recap. Yay. So let's find this together now for a second, okay? Where are we? What week are we in, friends? What week are we in? Who knows what week we're in? What week are we in? Anybody? What week? 208. I mean, is that just kind of shocking that we've been here together for 208 weeks? Thank you, Barbara Marks Hubbard. And we're going to hear from Barbara today. So let's kind of feel into this space. Week 208. Wow. What's our intention? Our intention is at this moment between, and I apologize for the background noise, just getting one little piece fixed here in the background, just a technological piece. What's our intention? Our intention is to participate together in the evolution of love. Our intention is at this moment between utopia and dystopia. When unimaginable suffering lurks at the door, our intention is to find our way in, to be able to actually articulate together a new vision, but a new vision not based on New Age declarations, not based on fundamentalist reclaiming, right? But a new declaration based on the deepest integration of pre-modern, modern, and post-modernity. Now it gets quiet for a second. I apologize for the little noise that we had before. I want to, if we can, just take us in one step deeper, okay? In every generation, there are people that come together to be in this conversation. And in every generation, there's what I would call a power history and an amor history, right? A love history. There's the history of power and there's the history of love. And although power and love are not opposites, and I pointed that out all the time, and we need to reclaim power in her integrity, and love itself is filled with power. Those are all absolutely true, and we've talked about them a lot. But for the moment, I want to talk about power as surface power and love as depth love. Of course, there's depth power and there's surface love. But for now, right, in this moment in time, let's just access love as the depth, not as ordinary love, but as literally the love that moves the sun and other stars and is alive in me and is finding its way, is self-organizing reality, is guiding, is moving, right, is constellating, is opening us up, right, is actually the pathfinder, the guide, right, the compass, right, the North Star, right, that actual love that is in this very second literally holding your body together, 37 trillion cells, right, an unimaginable amount of neurons are moving in you, right, slightly less than the amount of stars in the sky are neurons inside of you with a level of interconnectivity that's unimaginable, in which every neuron knows what every other neuron's doing in every second. So you're a galaxy, and that connectivity between neurons is based on allurement. It's based on an instant knowing. It's based on love. It's based on Eros, right? That interconnected galaxy that you literally are right now is animated. If you could feel it pulsing and throbbing inside you, it's animated by desire and love. The neurons seek each other. They're allured to each other. The protons and the neutrons, hadrons, leptons, muons, are in configurations of allurement. It's the power of love, and you come together yourself as a unique configuration of Eros, of intimacy, of desire, of allurement. You're literally, as am I, you're a force of love unlike any other. And when you get distracted, we call that pseudo-Eros. When you get really distracted, you seek to murder Eros. And our topic today is going to be the murder of Eros. And what that means, Barbara's going to talk about it, Barbara Marks Hubbard, and I'll talk about it, and we'll share it together, right? The murder of Eros. Right? When I'm distracted, I try and find something wrong. And then there's all sorts of small ways we move to Murder Eros. And the Murder of Eros is a fundamental force in society. It's the shadow of cancel culture, for example, one of its shadows, right? It's the shunning, it's the excommunications that happened in the religious world, right? It's the we are right and they are damned. There's no redemption, said Augustine, outside of the church. Everyone else is outside, right? It's the pluralistic level of consciousness that lives both on the left and the right that says, right, we pretend to be pluralistic, but really we got it right and you got it wrong. And you guys are so bad. And that's the source of polarization. And you murder the eros, the aliveness and the life vision of those people that seem to be so close to you. Right? The murder of Eros is very deep. And we're going to talk about how it works and what it means. And until we recognize the murder of Eros, we can't move beyond it. And David's going to resonate that code. But let's find each other now. Let's find each other in, there's the history of Eros. There's erotic history. But by erotic history, we don't mean sexual history. We mean the history of Eros, right? The history of love. Love as Eros, as Amor. And then there's power history in the sense of surface power. Those are two different histories. And there are two different stories. The story that our colleague Yuval Harari tells in Homo sapiens is the story of power history. It's driven by narrow egoic self-interest or ethnocentric self-interest. And the story we're telling is the story of Homo Amor. It's the story of Amor history, right? It's the history of love. It's the story of Eros. Those stories are happening right by each other. They're right next to each other. And actually, they're not as separate as they seem. Sometimes, right, dimensions of power history enter love history, and love history is always playing in its own way in power history. But at their core, there's these two movements in cosmos. Right? Wow. Part of the larger one. And what we need to do is we need to bring those movements together. We need to bring power and love together, where love is animated with such power and power is animated with such love that they become not two histories, but one history. And that is our vision. That's what we're about. And we can only do that, not by declaring it. Declarations, right? Declarations are always suspect. You declare something when there's nothing behind it. Okay? That's why countries would declare, right, when the conquistadors, right, came to the New World, right, in the Americas, they declared, right, before they would massacre and rape and burn and pillage, they declared, right, the demands of the King of Spain and his sovereignty. Those were called the declarations of the conquistadors, right? Google declares its right to gather all of your personal data, to organize it based on machine intelligence, and to sell predictive analysis of what you'll do, right, to advertisers all over the world without your permission. And Google did it based on 6 declarations of Google that says that they have access simply because no one's declared a law against it. They declare that they have a right to all that information. This is not a declaration we're talking about here. We don't want to declare this. And this is based on the deepest knowings we have in the interior and exterior sciences of the great traditions, of modernity and of postmodernity. We bring insights from all of those. We weave them together. We don't declare this truth. This is actually the deepest knowing of science today, is that actually love and power come together. And that we're unique expressions of love power. So let's create a new word together, love power. Who's up for writing that in the chat box? Love power, it's one word, right? Capital P, capital L, capital P, love power. We got that? That's it, love power, love power. Okay, so let's access that. Can we just access love power together, all of us, right? Just write, if you got it, write love power, right? I'm a unique expression of love power. I'm a unique expression of love power. That's who I am. I'm a unique expression of love power that never was, is, or will be ever before again, right? We are one love and one communion, right? We're the communion of Amor. In some sense, we're one love, we're one power, right? We're one communion, right? Wow. And we bring together, right? The Cathars in the 12th century, they called their church the Church of Amor, and they had a hidden book of love, right? Wow. So we take a dimension of the Cathars, we take a dimension, right, of the great Sabbatian movement, right, that actually declared love at the center. And we leave the shadows aside. The Cathars had shadows. The Sabbatian movement had shadows, right? We claim the Shakti of Kashmir Shaivism, which is the love particles that actually animate and drive reality in Abhinavagupta's great thought. We claim the love implicit in Vajrayana Buddhism. We claim the love implicit in particle physics, right? And the notion, the realization, right, that reality at the subatomic level is driven by allurement, and that the subatomic level is not, as I'm sharing with my friend Emil these days, I owe him an email, right? The subatomic level is not the only place that quantum reality plays. It plays actually in the macroscopic world as well. We're learning that more and more. We actually know that actually allurement is, right, the driving force of cosmos. Cosmos is a field of allurement. Well, love power, right? That's our intention. And we are, and I want to say something with your permission, audacious. I want to bring in a term that's rejected, right? But it's rejected by a superficial mainstream, but a much deeper cut of reality, right? A new mainstream is emerging that actually realizes, without kind of a blithe or arrogant or supercilious or superficial rejection, it's actually realizing there's an enormous amount of data. And this data speaks about what Ian Stevenson at the University of Virginia called reincarnation. That actually soul groups reincarnate, right? They reincarnate and they come together again. There's an enormous amount of evidence, right, for this that didn't exist 120 years ago. So that has nothing to do with woo-woo. It has nothing to do with New Age. It's hard data science, right, in which Occam's razor, the best explanation we have of reality is that it's not over when it's over, for lots of reasons, and reincarnation is part of that. So I want to make a suggestion to you that I can feel in my body, and see if you can feel it with me. We've been together before, friends. Everyone, right? In one love, one communion, we've been together before. Can you feel it? Who can feel that? Can anyone feel that? Who can feel that? Right? Can you feel that? We've been together before, right? We've done this before, right? We've tried this before, right? And it hasn't always gone well. The murder of Eros. And think about the Cathars. Think about the Sabbatians. Think about all the radical movements towards love, right? Think about the utopians, right, in different generations. Think about the people who were ahead of their time, right, in Kashmir Shaivism, in Buddhism, in Christianity, in Taoism, in Confucianism, right? Wow. Right? There's been bands of outrageous lovers through history. But this time, my friends, for the first time, everything's at stake. We got to bring everybody with us. We got to create a large tent. And we've got to go the whole way in this lifetime. Right? That's the intention, with your permission. With tears in my eyes. Right? If you can feel the tears, we can cry them with me, but they're tears of joy and they're tears of urgency. Right? I want to set an intention. Can we set an intention together with everyone's permission? Our intention is to go the whole way in this lifetime. Who's up for that intention? Right? Our intention is to participate in the evolution of love. Right? And to go the whole way in this lifetime. So here's the question. This week, setting our intention. Then we turn to David, who's going to resonate the code. And we're going to hear a new Amor this week from Claire. Right? Amor. Right? We are the one love, one communion. We're the communion of Amor. That Amor is that which animates the cosmos, right? And which lives in us, as us, and through us. And we are the leading edge of Amor, and we can take responsibility for the whole thing, even as we're held in every second. So here's the question. Are we ready to play a larger game? Are we ready? Are we ready to play a larger game? Are we ready? Are we ready to play a larger game? And people are just kind of, I know sometimes we sit back and we watch the chat box, but we're too busy to write. Maybe we're texting someone. Don't text someone now, right? Whoa, get off your phone. Right? Don't be double tasking. No, right? Let's step in. Are we ready? Right? Are we ready to go the whole way in this lifetime? Can you feel that? I can feel that. Are we ready? This is our lifetime. Are we ready to go the whole way in this lifetime? Right, to not get caught in the missing tile syndrome. Oh, this is wrong, that's wrong. Yeah, we'll deal with all that. But are we ready to step in to actually feel the ecstatic urgency of the evolutionary impulse living in us? And the impulse of evolution is the thrill, the responsibility, the urgency, the delight of creating the future, of accessing the memory of the future, of actually taking responsibility for the future. Wow. Wow, we're going to take responsibility in the best way we can, held by forces unseen and mysteries larger than us, and yet those mysteries live in us. The mysteries are within us. Right? The sacred texts are written in our hearts and souls. Right? We are evolution. Right? Who can feel that? Right? I am the leading edge of evolution. I don't live in the world lives in me. I don't live in the intimate universe, although I do. The intimate universe lives in me. And to be evolution, I've got to feel the full power of the evolutionary impulse, right? I got to feel the full power of it. Right? Being the evolutionary impulse is where love and power come together. That's love power. You want to know what the evolutionary impulse feels like on the inside? It doesn't feel like love. It doesn't feel like power, right? That's an old binary split. That's a false split imposed on us by those who claimed the name in vain. That's not true. There's not love against power, right? Hendrix was awesome on the guitar at Woodstock, but he got it wrong. We're not waiting for the day when the power of love is greater than the love of power. That's true only in the superficial way that we started, when power is surface power and love is depth love. But at the deepest place, the power of love and the love of power are the same. Love adheres with power. Love is not weak, love is strong. Love is the most powerful force that ever was, is, or will be. It's real. And that's power, love power. I'm a unique incarnation of love power. Wow. Well, for me, can I just speak last second personally on the intention? It's the greatest privilege of my life to be with you and to be with each other and for us to love each other and to be this band, right, of outrageous lovers, this band of committed ones. And we invite anyone to join us. And there's no dogma. This is not pre-personal, right? Whenever people get together and they're committed, people who are superficial say, what's that, right? It's not pre-personal commitment. It's not pre-personal loyalty. It's transpersonal. We share vision. We honor the individual, irreducible autonomy and uniqueness of every human being. And we come together, right, in a larger vision that we're radically committed to for the sake of alleviating suffering, right? For the sake of alleviating suffering, for the sake of every child knowing that they have a song to sing and a poem to write, that their life matters and that their story has to be lived and told and honored and celebrated. But that's the world we need to live in. It's the world we can create. Oh my God. Oh my God. So before we resonate the code, we're actually going to go first this week. If that's okay, we'll go first to Amor. So we can just feel the Amor, right? The love that resonates, right? All of this, that animates all of this, right? So let's chant together all over the world. Love power, Amor. Yes.
Amor.
Yes, gorgeous. Thank you, Amor. Wow, pouring Amor into Claire. Thank you, thank you. It was gorgeous. Amor, can you feel that? Who can feel that, right? And there was, I mean, the whole thing was beautiful. And there's always 1 second in something beautiful. It was towards the end. It was about 4th, 5th in, where Claire just smiled and you could feel her becoming Amor. That's Amor, right? Amor together. Amor. Amor, its insides are lined with love. David, resonate the code. Thank you, Claire. Right? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. David, take us inside. Take us inside to this code. Blow us away. Love us open.
Thank you, Dr. Mark. Claire, that was so beautiful. I felt this energy moving through my heart into my belly, and I felt my whole body coming alive. You know, I went to church this morning, Catholic church, and I can imagine Claire being there during the communion song, playing that and singing, the whole church lifting everyone up during the communion. So thank you, Claire. Thank you, Dr. Mark, for that transmission. So friends, I'm reminded that this code reminds me of this aliveness in me that I actually have to participate in, right? So as we receive that transmission from Dr. Mark, let's find, however we need to do it, a way to move through and let that energy pour in every cell in our body. This week's evolutionary love code. Radical aliveness is life. We yearn for life, but when we are deadened, we move to kill life as a shortcut to genuine aliveness. The murder of Eros is sourced in the failure of Eros. We cannot become Homo Amor until we transcend the impulse to murder Eros. To transcend that impulse, we must first fearlessly recognize it. And with that, I turn my word back to you, Dr. Mark.
David, thank you. Thank you. Just thank you so much. Thank you, David, right? Let's check in together for a second, okay? Just in the chat box. When we talk about the murder of Eros, who's got an idea? Who can find that? Who can find it? Right? Who can find it, okay? Thank you for putting the code in, right? We got 1 yes. Claire, Simona, right? Yes. Veronica, thank you, Veronica. Right? Camille, right? Jackie, right? Xochitl, where's Xochitl? Right? I'm working on your name. Where are you? Okay. I've been working on your name all week, kind of going to my Xochitl lessons, right? She's joining. Okay. Tell her like we're waiting for her. Okay. She's with Jackie. Yay. Okay. Right. Tom, thank you for your most beautiful note, Tom. I'm going to get a note back to you. Thank you. Right. The murder of Eros. Can everyone, Rob, right? Can everyone feel that? Right. So let's talk about it for a second. And Barbara's going to talk about it. Okay. They're like, wow. Okay. So let's find this. Okay, let's find this, okay? So I want to try and kind of walk through just a couple of steps so we can actually feel this together, okay? And I'm just checking the time to make sure. Okay, so the murder of Eros is, okay, and someone, maybe whoever wants to, just Diane, right? Let's step up, right, into the chat box and let's see if we can get this down. Okay, here we go. So, and Diane, write not to all panelists, the Diane who just wrote a comment, write to all panelists and attendees, so everyone can get the privilege of seeing you, okay? So thank you. So the murder of Eros is the murder of life force. Does everyone get that? It's the desire, right, to murder life force, right? And that desire to murder life force, right, comes from our own failure, right, to experience our own aliveness. So when I'm not experiencing my own aliveness, so what happens is I go to murder life force. And that expresses itself in many ways, but it's a fundamental dimension of reality, and we've got to recognize it. It's hidden. This is esoteric, okay? And the reason we're studying this is because we can't actually get home, right, until we actually get a sense of how this actually works. The New Age world, for example, doesn't recognize this possibility. But it actually exists and it plays everywhere. And this notion of the murder of Eros hides in many distressing disguises. So for example, the people that murder Eros never announce, we're out to murder Eros. The people that murder Eros always hide behind a disguise. And what's the disguise? Anybody? What's the disguise? See if we can find it here. What's the disguise? What's the disguise? Anybody? What's the disguise? Let's find this. What's the disguise? The disguise is pseudo-Eros, yes. The disguise is, right, the disguise is some form of counterfeit, right? Some sort of, the fig leaf is always a noble cause. I'm standing for a cause, right? I'm making sure everything is pure, right? The murderers of Eros are always standing for purity, right? They always disguise, right, their own sense of being not enough, their own sense of not being seen, right? Their own sense of feeling deadened in their hearts. And Scott Peck, right, he had a word for this, which he called people of the lie. But people of the lie always disguise themselves very well. They're always very hidden, right? The great fear of people of the lie is when actually someone shines the light on them. Their motives are hidden, right? That's really important to get. And so you've got to actually search and realize, oh, right, that noble cause isn't really a noble cause. There's something in psychology called Karpov's triangle. And Karpov's triangle talks about there being, sometimes called also the victim triangle. It talks about there being a victim, a perpetrator, and a rescuer. On the surface, right, on the surface, you think that you actually know that's the victim, that's the rescuer, that's the perpetrator. But what's often true is that actually the perpetrator is hiding as a victim, or the perpetrator is hiding as a rescuer. Right? The rescuer says, I'm standing for victims, is often the perpetrator. And often the victim who's claiming victimhood is actually using the claim of being powerless to actually wield unholy power. Does everyone get that? That's the very, very common structure, right, in modern neoliberal culture. When I say neoliberal, it's not conservative left or right. Neoliberal culture includes the left and the right across the world, right? It's the actual hijacking falsely of the victim identity. It's the exaggeration of hurt and the deployment of, and here's a big word, let's get this word, malice. Malice, right? The murder of Eros virtually always deploys the tool of malice. And that's really important to understand. And malice seeks to murder Eros, right? And the motivation or the methodology of malice is projection. I project my own ulterior motives, my own viciousness, right? That's split off and disowned, my own rage, and I stand for purity on the side of the ostensible victims. Now, we have to defend and hold every true victim. We stand on the side of the vulnerable. We stand on the side of the oppressed. We stand on the side of the powerless. But we got to watch very carefully for the victim triangle. We got to watch very carefully, and we realize that often the most ulterior motive of all is the ulterior motive of purity, right? Beware, right? Beware of those who can't hold irony. Beware of those who forget to laugh about the whole thing. Beware of those who can't hold complexity, who are battling for purity, right? Who are engaged in all form of demonization. Now, I want you to stay with me for a second because it's dramatic, okay? It's dramatic. I remember about, I don't know, a while ago. And I remember reading an article, right, that someone had written that was phenomenally attacking and demonizing, right, another person. And it made all sorts of claims, and it said I began to look into this person and I came with an open mind, right? And, you know, and they wrote this very dramatic article, you know, essentially calling the person they were attacking every form of evil. They never met the person, they never interviewed them. They happened to be living at the same city as the person at the time they wrote the article, right? And then I just did a quick Google search because I happened to know the person who was the major person who actually hated this person, about who the article was about. And I had an intuition that the person who wrote this article must know that person. So I Googled both of their names together, and it turns out they're best friends. They've been in the same group for 10 years. They know each other very well. They live close to each other. They're involved in 1,000 activities together. But the righteous person who's quite well known, writing this attacking article, lied, right? He hid the malice, right? And the article comes across as this noble, right, defense of victims. He doesn't know anything about the story. He just looked into it. It was a complete lie, literally a complete lie from the beginning to end. I was a little bit shocked at the audacity of it, but that's the nature, right, of the murder of Eros. The murder of Eros gets very audacious. And what drives it is, I want you to get it, it drives it is, right, the sense is that person has aliveness that I don't have. That person has Eros that I don't have, right? And it appears that actually it's a form of evil. Right? The murder of Eros is evil without question, right? Evil is live spelled backwards. Live spelled backwards is evil, right? So the failure of aliveness turns into evil. So I'll just give you a couple of examples. Iago and Othello. Iago is driven completely insane by the aliveness of Othello. So he goes to demonize Othello. Now, is Othello perfect? Of course Othello is not perfect. We're all imperfect vessels for the light. But Iago's not concerned with genuine imperfection. He's not concerned with helping Othello be more whole, right? He's concerned with, right, he's driven insane by, right, this experience, right, that in some way Othello possesses an aliveness that he doesn't have. I'll give you another example. This is a popular cinematic take of a historical situation. It's not completely accurate, but we'll use it, at least for the sake of this image now, which is the movie Amadeus. So the movie Amadeus is about Mozart and Salieri. And Salieri is a composer, right, in the great court, right, of Austria. And he's a decent composer. He's competent. He's good. But Mozart's got something else, right? Mozart's got a gift of grace that's unimaginable. And Mozart's post-conventional, and Mozart's wild, and he lives outrageously, right? And he's complex, and he's imperfect. And so Salieri, when he hears Mozart's music, he's driven insane. He feels the transmission in it. He feels the aliveness in it. And instead of just opening up to it and being delighted in the unique self of Mozart, which is different than his unique self, right? He feels this sense of grenvy, greed and envy coming together, the sense of grenvy, and it moves him towards what Joseph Burke, who's the major psychoanalytic writer in the peer-reviewed journals, right, on malice, right? Burke calls it annihilating behavior, right? The demarcating characteristic of malice is the move towards annihilating behavior. I want to read you just for a second. There's an essay at the end of the book, Return to Eros. At the end of this book, there's an essay in the back called, right, it's called Appendix B, and it's called The Murder of Eros, right, the Murder of Eros. And the Murder of Eros cites this notion of annihilating behavior. That's how you know, the way you know that you're actually dealing, right, with the murder of Eros and not with an authentic movement, right, of love, is the sense of this annihilating behavior, right? It's the sense that if I don't destroy that person, somehow I'll be in some fundamental way, right, not alive in the world. It's like, wow, right? And that's the experience, right, of Salieri, who spreads rumors that Mozart is sleeping with 13-year-old girls. Exactly, by the way. His students are 12, 13, 14, right? And the rumor is, right, and so Mozart can't get a job, right? Because he lives from the patronage of people who hire him to tutor their daughters in music. That's actually what happens. And Mozart dies in poverty writing his Requiem. Like, wow. Is that like, it's like, really? Mozart dies in poverty writing his Requiem, right? So it's only when I take responsibility for the Eros of my unique self, when I feel the unique quality of the outrageous love moving through me, when I claim my place as love power, and I know that my love power is different than yours, but I don't claim it psychologically. Do you get that? This is not a psychological move. I actually claim the quality of Amor moving through me. I actually realize that when I actually get through my contractions, I get through my blocks, that actually divinity lives inside of me. I want to recommend a great movie to everybody, a great movie to see. It's called Lucy, Lucy, Lucy. And people are like, oh, it's great, kind of great movie, fun, you know, a lot of action, right? Well, wasn't that fun? No, no, no. Lucy is about one thing. Lucy is about apotheosis. And it's about the feminine, but the feminine that lives in all of us, claiming the truth that divinity, that infinity lives in me. It's about actually unclenching. And when I unclench, I become outrageous love incarnate in self. I become ultimate love and ultimate power. And my only concern, catch that scene, when she's talking to Morgan Freeman, I want to transmit to the next generation. I want to participate in the evolution of consciousness, right? And actually, the movie ends with Lucy exploding beyond human constraints. And this police French captain, right, who's, right, the ultimate, you know, male Eros, who obviously loves her by this time, he says, where is she? And she writes into his phone, I'm everywhere, right? She's become divinity. She's become outrageous love, exploded into reality. And you can get a sense of it. There's different ways to journey. There's different ways to get a sense of this, to expand, to feel it. You can feel it through dance. You can feel it through prayer. You can feel it through journeying, right, in different plant forms, right? You can feel it through, there's many ways to get to this place. And it's not mediated. The church is not going to take you there. That's not going to take you there. There's no organized religion that can claim this. This lives in every generation. You can actually awaken, right, this truth in you, this Eros in you, and actually become this unique configuration of Eros and desire with a unique gift to give that literally all of reality leans over and yearns to hear your words and yearns to feel your feelings and yearns to receive your gift. And it's not about a public or private stage. It can be given fully in private, your gift, in an exchange with a bus driver, right, with a clerk, right, in a transformation that takes place in you, which you offer up for the sake of the whole. You literally become Lucy, right? You begin to access, right? Outrageous love flows through you, right? And that is Homo Amor. Okay? That is one love, one communion. That's what we're coming together to do. And as long as we don't do that, watch carefully yourself. And I just want to ask a hard question, and we're going to turn to Barbara right now. Right? Can you find in yourself that place where you murder Eros? Right? Can I find it in myself? This is not just the people who organize smear campaigns. This is not just the people who write articles and hide their true motivation. There's ways that we all murder Eros. We all seek to, right, murder the person who feels like they're holding a particular kind of life force that I want to have, so I go to murder them in 1,000 ways in my mind. How many of us have murdered in our hearts and mind, murdered Eros in 1,000 different ways, right? We always claim noble motivation for it. It hides behind all sorts of fig leaves of piety and purity, right? Wow, who can find that, right? So we got to recognize it first. That's what the code says. If we don't recognize it, we can't move beyond it. Like, wow. Like, oh my God, right? So we're making this commitment, right? In this synagogue of Amor, in this Church of Amor, in this atheist center of Amor, right? In this Buddhist Dharma center of Amor, right? In this, right? Whatever it is, it's Indian, it's Native American, it's Aboriginal, right? It's secular, right? Whatever it is, right? In this gathering of Amor that is us, that is one love, one communion, we make a commitment together. We're going to stop murdering Eros. We're going to celebrate each other. The opposite of the murder of Eros is the celebration of Eros. I'm delighted by you. Blow me away. Show me what you can do that I can't. And let me be in devotion to you. And let's be in devotion to each other. And there's many guises for the murder of Eros. And if you're saying to yourself, he or she, I don't do that, you're probably wrong. Right? Can we go the next step? There's a place for everybody around the table. Not all positions are equal. Not everyone's right. Right? People have different skills, different talents, different qualities. Right? There's a natural hierarchy of talents and skills, but we all have equal value. We all have equal fundamental value if we're living from the celebration of the unique configuration of Eros that's me, and I take up, right, my instrument, I play my instrument, the unique self symphony. Oh my God. So Barbara's going to take us home in 10 minutes. Let's take us home, Barbara, 10 minutes. And we're going to pray and we're going to finish right around time. Okay? So Barbara, take us inside. Barbara Marx Hubbard, right, on the Murder of Eros, right? We're up-leveling the source code together. Oh my God. Right? Oh my God. Oh my God. Are we ready for Barbara? Take us inside.
Hallelujah. I have a most interesting exploration to give us today. And I start out with the question is, what happened to Jesus? What happened that this man who was totally loving of everyone and everything at all times in an unqualified way was crucified? And the first thing to notice about it is something I got from this book by Robert Reich, is that hierarchy cannot stand unconditional love. If you walk through a town and love everybody as he did, the harlots, the taxpayers, the thieves, the beauties and the sick ones, if you love them all, what happens to the social hierarchy? It disappears. It cannot maintain its hierarchy of distinctions and put downs of others. So when they called for his crucifixion, it was the hierarchy of the Jews themselves who did this, who called for this. They couldn't stand it. And I was beginning to really think about what's happening now in our country. How do we respond to the murder of Eros that's going at the top of the hierarchy of power right now, or wherever we find it? What do we do about this? And I want to just read a quote that I am discovering an interesting book. We all know this, but we completely forget it. This is a quote from a book called After Eden, The Evolution of Human Dominance by Kirkpatrick Sale. He says, the evolution of human dominance begins with the evolution of Homo sapiens into a creature that could kill every beast on earth and thus conquer and transform the world. There was nothing like sapiens before we got here. Homo erectus was not like this. The other early humans were not. We were massively successful at destroying anything that got in our way. And he said this very trait of Homo sapiens has brought us to the point of ecocide. And the question is, what happens then to Homo sapiens if this is, no matter how many of us are kind and good, the driving power of this particular species that we are is that, and yet this is the species that created human culture. This is the one that created the arts, the beauty, the gorgeousness of science and technology. So I want to say that one alternative to ecocide is what this wonderful author that Marc recommended to me, Naam, Nama's Naam, N-A-A-M, is called Infinite Resources on a Finite Planet. And what his solution is that the human innovative capability is so immense that there never has been and probably never will be any problem that our innovations cannot deal with and transcend. And that is what's beginning to happen now. So on the one hand, we have ecocide as the nature of sapiens to destroy everything that's in front of us. And the other innovations, the nature of sapiens to innovate and create everything that is before us. And I'm going to add a third possibility here. It seems to me that it will not be sapiens that makes the next step, but that sapiens ourselves is giving birth to a new species. as sapiens itself was a new species out of Homo erectus, Homo habilis, and other forms of human that came out of the most intelligent animals, there is absolutely nothing to assume this is the final species. And that so let's just look for a moment what happened to Jesus along with the crucifixion and the 3 days in the tomb. What happened to him when he said, "You will do what I do, and greater works will you do"? Well, he appeared as a new human in a new body. He became a new species in that moment. He had a resurrected body that could materialize and dematerialize, like they say light bodies can, and yet it was totally him, recognized by Mary Magdalene. And if he had the map of the story of creation to present to us, what he presents is we're going to become new, radically new, like he did after the crucifixion, not only by being more innovative. And so I began to imagine, and I am imagining now, that we become Homo universalis. This is not the last species. Homo sapiens is not the last species on Earth. And through our innovations and through our tendency to dominate, control, and destroy everything in our way is coming these new humans. And I would declare that the church, the evolutionary church, is a seedbed of the new humans for the new humanity. So what would be Homo universalis? Let's just go into it for a moment in ourselves. I think that Homo universalis would be that we will discover that the impulse of Eros within us is the methodology by which we survive. It includes all the innovations that we can think of, but innovations in of themselves will not overcome ecocide. Because without the love, it won't do it. So let us imagine for a moment that the way to evolve in outrageous love is to use our godlike new powers, nanotech, biotech, quantum computing, artificial intelligence, space travel, all the powers of the ancient gods, combined with outrageous love, guiding the powers of gods that we have invented through our tremendous innovative capability. Love and innovations together is going to create a new human, like Jesus appeared in a new body eventually. This is my radical thought. Even now, we're finding that through our inner impulse of love, creativity, oneness, wholeness, something's happening at the cellular level. I believe it's epigenetics. That is to say, the cells are responsive to consciousness of the environment in which they are. So as members of Homo sapiens sapiens, let's assume for the moment we are that transitional species, the Homo universalis. We're what is called Homo Deus, somewhat irreverently in the book Homo Deus by Harari, which is that he says by the year 2100, we will probably not die in a normal death. By the way, Ray Kurzweil has been hired by Google to solve death, solve it. We will probably have infinitely great intelligence. We will be in a state of ever deepening bliss as we bring Eros into fruition through every kind of help that we can get, plus creativity. I'm imagining this human that we're becoming, and that Homo Deus, Homo sapiens, sapiens 2.0, as the National Geographic calls us, we are going to incarnate a new high technologies with radical, telerotic, God-centered love. Just for a moment, radical new powers, which are really just beginning, give us another 50 years, and put radical love as the story of creation, guiding those powers, if we don't destroy ourselves before that, then the evolutionary church becomes what? It's the seed bed of the new species. We're members of the dawning of the first age of universal humanity. On this earth and in the universe, Mother Earth is giving birth to us as the new species. And I declare on behalf of my role in the evolutionary church, the honoring of the new species. No one's done this before, really. No church has even begun to, but if it's a church for whom Jesus is any example at all, not being fully Christian, but certainly being totally awed by the power and love and story of Jesus beyond physical death, let us declare at the end of this sermon the dedication to being a first birthing place in the evolutionary church, which celebrates the evolutionary story of creation as a story of the evolution of love. Let us start examining becoming the new species ourselves. And with this, I turn my word to Marc.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you. Let's pray together. We're at the top of the hour, and we want to just feel it together and offer prayer. So I want to invite everyone to the chat box. We're not going to do hallelujah this week. We're just going to pray into and ask for everything and let Amor be our background. So with your permission, I'm just going to chant Amor and ask everyone just to, let's ask for everything, to become Homo Amor, to become the new human, to actually offer up prayer, okay, to pray for everything, to pray to be LovePower. So here's the chant, okay? And anyone wants to chant it together with me, oh my God, wherever we are in the world, Amor. And we've got this hall of Amor. So please, let's have 5, 10 more people this week. Make your own Amor and send it to us. Amor. Amor, 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 amor. Together with Claire. Everyone, Claire's playing the piano. We're together. Ready? Around the world. Amor, 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 amor. Amor, 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 amor. Amor, 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 amor. Amor, 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 amor. Amor, 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 amor. Amor, 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 amor. Amor, amor, amor. Together around the world, one love, one communion. Amor, 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 amor. Amor, 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 amor. Amor, 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 amor. Amor, 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 amor. Amor, 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 amor. Krista Josepha, take us inside. Take us this last stage. All right, wrap it all up, bring it together, lift it up to the sky. Krista Josepha, our lead executive producer. All right, take us inside, love. Yes. Oh my God.
Yes, wow. Barbara asked it so beautifully. What is the response to the murder of Eros? And of course, the answer is simple. A return to Eros. And Christina already shared it before. We have exciting news. Gabrielle Anwar, actress, producer, director, and also a deep student with Dr. Marc Gafni and Christina Kincaid. She stepped in and contributed to this revolution by narrating this book, A Return to Eros. And I want to just give you the pleasure of listening to her beautiful, beautiful voice sharing this important Dharma with us.
Chapter 5, The Secret of the Cherubs. Reality is Eros. Now that we understand that Eros lies at the heart of the temple mysteries, we can turn to the core question. If, as we have seen, that the essence of the temple and of every journey of spirit is Eros, not sex, then why is sex such a prominent feature of the temple? This chapter will begin to unfold that information which lies at the heart of the mystical secret of the cherubs. The secret of the cherubs tells the story of the relationship between the erotic, love, and the sexual. Sex models Eros. Erotic sex models what it means to be radically alive in every single facet of our lives.
Wow, isn't that beautiful and sensual and erotic and awakening the aliveness in us? In a moment, we will share in the chat box the links to this beautiful, beautiful new audiobook. And I also want to invite you to take a look at our beautiful website, where you can find this book, but many, many more books that Dr. Marc Gafni, Christina Kincaid, Barbara Marx Hubbard have been writing, the great library. If you go to our website, onechurch.world/books, you will find all of these amazing foundational books where you can study the first principles and first values that we receive and bless ourselves with every week here. You can go into your own deep dive study with these amazing, amazing books. While you are on this website, please make sure that you are signed in for our weekly broadcast. If you are watching on Facebook Live, go to our website and sign up here, and you will receive every Tuesday the replay of One Communion. We also share these replays on our watch page, where you can also find beautiful featured clips. Our amazing editing team creates these beautiful clips every week, and they are super easy to watch. Simple topics, but also easy to share with your friends. So take a moment to look at that beautiful clips that are here on our website. And we also invite you to contribute to our One Love, One Communion. We are the revolution together, and we must resource our home. And we all do that by stepping in and becoming a member. And that's actually a beautiful way to say thank you for all the beautiful gifts that are being shared totally free for everyone. If you do become a member, we share even more gifts with you. You become part of our online community, our Facebook group, where we share and meet all throughout the week. You get access to 9 beautiful courses that you can find here below. We have 9 courses created by Dr. Marc Gafni, but also together with Barbara Marx Hubbard, that you can either study on your own, or you can also join one of our study groups that members are creating together. You can choose your own contribution. It starts already from $25 a month. So if you are here with us every week, or if you're watching on Facebook and you are not yet a member, please make your contribution so we can grow together in this revolution. And very importantly, what do we do with all of this love that we are receiving here every week? We go out into the world and we commit our outrageous acts of love. And on this page on our website, you can read all about that. What is outrageous love? What are outrageous acts of love? And how do we commit them? So take a moment to read this page. And if you are done with that, we invite you to participate in that by going to our Facebook page, Outrageous Acts of Love. We are all invited to share our outrageous acts of love and share our stories of inspiration and aliveness and all of the goodness that is happening all over the world, and share it here and create a beautiful gallery of love here together, so we can feel each other, we can taste each other's love all over the world. And here's Jacqueline who has created a beautiful, beautiful video of her outrageous love letter. And this is just an amazing, inspiring place to be together all throughout the week, meet each other, love each other open until we meet again next week. Thank you for being with me. And with that, I give my word back to you, beloved Marc.
Thank you. It was awesome and gorgeous. How deep is your love? Everybody, how deep is your love? It's the last dance all the way. Let's rock this week open, right? So much is happening this week on every level in the world. There's suffering, there's pain, there's joy, there's possibility, right? We are one love, one communion, right? We are the revolution. How deep is your love? The most gorgeous, stunning, beautiful week in which you are the evolution of love. Thank you, thank you, and thank you, and thank you again.